Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're gonna be working on the Mustang. So I know in the last video I showed you guys driving around doing slight hits, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I've kind of been driving it like this because I really haven't had time to do it, and I know it's not really a good idea. But anyways, basically when the motor was built, I messed up and I accidentally put a little bit too much RTV on the oil pan gasket / windage tray. So these cars actually have a windage tray that keeps the oil from foaming up, and it's also a gasket around it. So it's basically for performance for the Mustangs. I don't think the F-150s had it, but anyways, I've accidentally put too much RTV on it, and it's been leaking. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this engine support bar I got from Harbor Freight, rated for 1,000 pounds, and we're gonna put it across here, support the motor, and drop the K member so I can change the oil pan gasket / windage tray. I already have the part. It's just a matter of getting the K member off, which you have to disconnect the wheels, and then it's just basically bolts and unclip the electric steering rack. That's really about it. And then while I have it down, I'm also going to clean it up, obviously, with some brake cleaner. And there's also a little bit of leaks on the turbo drains, basically just turbo stuff with the cars. And I'm sorry you can't hear me. If it's super windy, I apologize for that. It's a pretty windy day here in Texas. So anyways, let's get started. Here's the culprit, in case you guys wanted to see it. I know some of you guys are probably curious, but what you're looking at, this is the front of the engine. So this is the oil pan. It's leaking from the front of the oil pan right here, and it's going back down, and it's actually dripping right here and going down to the oil, or to the oil pan plug. Sorry, I can't think right now. I'm on my stomach on a creeper. So anyways, you can see the oil, how it's like it's been building up over time. Like before I put the turbo kit on, or not even before I built the motor, this car was super clean underneath, and it's now got oil on it because of the leak. So anyways, that's what I wanted to show you guys. No exhaust, obviously, because hood exits, race car, but I will probably put you guys on a tripod in case you guys want to see it. So yeah, here we go. This isn't a sponsor video or anything, but I just wanted to show you guys that instead of using the engine support bar to wrap the chains around the motor mount, I'm going to use this. This is a motor brace / holder, well, technically a Coyote engine lift plate from MMR. It's made specifically to fit any gen. It just sits on top of the ports on the heads, and then you have all the bolt holes, and they're Allen keys, and they're billet, so they're pretty strong. And all you do is you just stick it on there, and then you put the bolts in each holes, and then you can lift the engine from here. That way it's supported really well, instead of it having chains around the motor mounts or anywhere else, you know, that you may damage. So that's what I'm gonna do, and let's get back to it. By the way, these are the bolts for the lift plate. I think they're billet. I think I may have misspoke. All I know is they're pretty strong. I haven't had any uses or issues with it yet. That motor lift plate actually comes in handy a lot. I use it a lot, you know, when the engine needs to be lifted or whatever. But yeah, I just want to show you the bolts. I think it's pretty cool. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got the engine lift bracket on the car, and it's on here. It's not going anywhere. However, I don't know how, but this bolt won't go in all the way. I think it's an issue with either the threads on the bolt or the threads inside. The bolt for the intake manifold fits in there fine, no issues. But that one won't go in all the way. I'm not going to force it because this is an aluminum head and I don't want to ruin it. And I have to take it off again because I like driving it. So, and I'm missing a bolt for this side, but you know, if you don't think too good, don't think too much, right? So I'm just gonna use it as is. I think it should be fine. I've seen people use this thing with less bolts than this, so we're good. Okay, so I got the engine support bar mounted, and it's actually holding the engine. However, it's not the only thing that's holding it. I also put my jack underneath here. In case anything happens, I have it mounted right between the bell housing of the trans and engine block. That way it's supporting it there, and also you're getting support from the top, so there's no pressure on anything vital like the input shaft of the trans and the crank and all that good stuff. So now the next thing we got to do is we have to unclip the steering rack and then take the wheels off, and then really it's just getting the radiator support bolts out of here and then unbolting the K-member, and that's really about it. We're getting close. So everything was going smoothly. I got the radiator support bracket off of it right there, and I've ran into the first issue, the ball joints. I don't have a ball joint separator, so I am gonna go to the parts store and grab a ball joint separator. Basically, it places it right here and right here, and it pushes down on this bolt to get it out of here. Honestly, it looks like this is welded in right here, the little crack, but it's not. It's just on there really tight. And I put some penetrating oil, some PB Blaster on both of them, so they're just soaking. Other than that, that's the progress I've made so far. After I get those ball joints loose and this control arm lowers, then the next step is really just unbolting the screws for the K-member, and then theoretically I can place the jack right here on the big part of the K-member and slowly lower it, and it'll lower the tie rod along with the control arm down with in one piece. That way it's easier to get out. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and go grab that part, and just like that, it's out. I didn't really film the whole removal process of the bolts just because it was a lot that I would have had to film, because I didn't want to go back and forth. I just wanted to focus on it and get it out of there safe. Right now I didn't have enough jack stands, so I just took it out with my jack and my creeper. So you use what you can when you're in a pinch, or whatever the saying is. But anyways, it's out, and what I'm doing now is I drain the oil and I'm just letting it drip, and then I'm gonna plug the oil pan, and from there I'm going to disconnect the turbo drain lines from the front of the oil pan right here, and then I gotta get the 30 million bolts out of the oil pan to drop it, and then we'll go from there. All right guys, so I'm gonna wrap it up here because really, you saw in the last clip, K-member's pulled. It's kind of just in front of the car. We got just basically to drop the pan, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like with the pistons and rods, you know, them being that new. I'm actually curious myself to see how they look, but I drained the oil and it looked really good for its 5th oil change. So we're making progress. Nothing's really worrying me so far. Everything's looking good so far. We've been making good progress. It's just getting late. Other than that, I think what I'm gonna do, actually I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and put more support underneath the underneath the engine. That way it's not just resting on the jack stand I have and the engine support. I'm actually going to use my blue jack here and put it on there. So other than that, that's really it.